Have you heard about this concept called overemployment? It's where you get 2, 3, 4, or maybe even 5 different remote jobs and you're working them all at once.
Okay.
Come along. Welcome to Struggle Security. I'm going to talk to you about my own experience with overemployment, some of the pros and the cons that I experienced with it, and hopefully this will be something valuable to you. Come along. Let's normalize struggling together. Hello, and welcome back to Struggle Security, where we are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. My name is Gabriel Agbarucci, and if this is your first time here, I want you to hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell so you can get more and more of this content. If this is your second time, third, or even fourth time here, welcome back, and I'm happy to give you more and more of this type of content. The subject for today is overemployment in cybersecurity. I don't know if you all have heard of this concept, but pretty much during the pandemic, there have been certain job trends that have come into fruition, right? We have seen that there have been mass layoffs for organizations. Brick and mortar businesses have closed down at an alarming rate. There's even been a movement called the Great Resignation, which was pretty much a mass exodus from the job market by a lot of young professionals in corporate fields. People who weren't doing what they wanted to do and noticed that there were opportunities outside. They never returned or haven't returned yet into the job market, the mass exodus. But these trends have been very integral in tech and cybersecurity. And I want to go over another one today, and it's called overemployment. I'm going to go over some pluses and minuses, and I'm going to give you my own experience with overemployment in this field. The first question probably will be what is overemployment? The definition of overemployment comes from the website, overemployment.com. If you want that, I'll have it in the description section for you. And the definition starts off here. It says, overemployment is a community of professionals looking to work 2 or more remote jobs, earning extra income and achieve financial freedom. So the proliferation of these remote jobs because of the pandemic has caused a lot of people to just be employed in multiple places at once. You wake up in the morning and you prepare for your day, right? You typically wash, you brush your teeth, you do all these different things, you put on your clothes, and then you have a very short commute, right? From your bedroom to the office. So it's a very low cost morning commute. And then you sign into typically your work computer through some type of internet access or VPN. So a lot of tech professionals, and even in cybersecurity, we've been seeing that people would do this once or twice or 3 or 4 times. People are overemployed, and it's very possible to do, especially from a remote role perspective. I've had some experience here, right? Back in 2020 and 2021, I worked as a senior consultant for a cybersecurity consulting firm.
Okay.
And there, it was a lot of travel involved in that role. But after COVID, right, that caused me to be very much so at home. I was working pretty much 100% remote role where typically I would be working from home and traveling to customer sites. A lot of that traveling to customer sites have been completely eliminated for that role that I was in. But then at the same time, I had just been finishing up my master's degree in cybersecurity. So I had decided to pursue a cybersecurity adjunct professor role, also a remote role. Listen, I was in the overemployment grind. I was in the overemployment job market. And it was cool for a minute, right? Both opportunities provided more than 6 figures per opportunity. So I was earning almost at times double my own income being able to work 2 remote jobs. But there were some things that were very interesting about my experience, which caused me to cut off the second one. So I no longer had pursued, and I'm no longer working as an adjunct professor. And these are a couple of negatives or cons that I found with the working remotely or the overemployment thing. I mean, I think we all want to work. I think a lot of people do want to work and they want to do the best that they can do at their jobs. But working almost around the clock caused me to be burnt out, right? It caused me to not really have a work-life balance. There were times when my wife wanted to do things, but I had to sign in to one of my jobs at the moment. So, it caused some issues. And the thing about it is that I was an adjunct professor at a very large public university in the West Coast, and I live in the East Coast. So that's another thing. You have to coordinate time zones and everything. So when it was nighttime, when it was time for my class, for me to teach my class, that was 3 hours ahead of where I was. Right. So I would be teaching at night and working all throughout the day at my major role. So I would probably wake up in the morning, do my first job right from 8 a.m. to maybe 4 or something p.m. And then during the evening, I would start the second role where I would be teaching on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And sometimes on Saturday, I would be teaching for 3.5 hours per session. I had burnout and no work-life balance. Also, there can be conflicts of interest. If you're desiring to pursue this, there could be conflicts of interest in the form of both of your organizations that you're working for the remote jobs. They might be competing organizations. So the one organization I worked for, they pretty much a training suite of cybersecurity type of skill sets. But the other organization, as I worked for an adjunct professor, the organization didn't specific, or my role wasn't specifically competing against my previous organization. So the thing about it is that when I submitted this to our legal department, that's something I did, doing my due diligence to make sure I'm not in any way violating any legal things. I submitted it to the HR of my previous organization, and they said that, hey, there's a conflict of interest here because we both provide training resources and we compete in the same markets. That's another thing that you have to take account of. Are both of the organizations that you're working for competing with one another? Another one is money being the only motivation, because that really was all that it really was for me, right? I love teaching. I love teaching individuals. I love working as a cybersecurity consultant. But the thing about it is that I don't want to work 11 and a half hours for anybody's organization. I don't want to tire myself out just for the purpose of money. Because money was the only motivation, it was much easier to cut off that second job because I was losing precious time of living rather than just working and working and working to live. I think the final thing that I found that was probably one of the cons is that the quality of my work suffered. Right? Because I was so overworked, because I was so overtaxed in the task and the work that I was doing, I found that both places were suffering. I was not able to prepare adequately for my cybersecurity classes. I was able to go through the slides and have a general understanding, but because I'm working 8 hours before that class and probably every other week, I was not able to properly prepare for my teaching. So that was another thing. The quality of my work suffered for both because I was torn between the two. So that's been some of my experience. Like I said, I eventually cut off that second opportunity and fully pursued my first opportunity, where I found that I got much more opportunities and much more growth in that previous role. But what do you want to do? What do you want to do? I think that if you desire to pursue this, there are some heavy benefits, right? One, in that you're getting more money coming into your bank, you're getting more money coming into your pocket so you can fulfill your financial goals. So that might be something that you desire to do. Another one is that you are probably getting a wealth of experience. A lot of times people find issues getting into cybersecurity and getting into tech because they don't have experience. You working 2 or 3 jobs will definitely give you experiences and a broad level of experience in multiple domains and in different organizations, maybe even in different industries. So right there is a buildup of your skill set. I think that those are 2 of the biggest positives that I can see with overemployment: money and experience. 2 things that a lot of people want these days. I just discovered that the overemployment type of grind wasn't for me, right? I love spending time with my wife. I love spending time with my family. And just that experience just wasn't something that served me. I was working 8 hours throughout the day on customer calls, delivering penetration tests, doing incident response engagements, doing security program assessments, all this cybersecurity stuff, just to take maybe an hour and a half nap, wake up and do a whole class where I'm engaging with students over a virtual type of thing. I think we were using Zoom. Man, it was just something that wasn't for me. And that's one thing that I found out, right? And I think that that's something that you need to discover for yourself, right? Even though these trends and things happen, right? The great resignation happened, this overemployment thing is happening. Do you want that for you? And does that align with your goals and your professional goals in cybersecurity? For me, I recognize that it wasn't. And, I think that that's okay, right? Some people have way more grind, way more energy to just devote to just working. Work is cool, but not for me, because work is not going to be the only thing that I do in life. So that has been my experience with overemployment. Again, I'm putting the overemployment.com website in the description section so you can go and get more information. They give all types of tips and tricks to being on virtual calls at the same time, kind of staggering your remote roles by time zone so you're able to adequately get to all of them, and even giving you some websites and suggestions for places you can go where you can be overemployed. Thank you. Hopefully this has been valuable to you. Come back again for more and more of this content where we are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. Hopefully I have eliminated your struggle with understanding what unemployment was or overemployment was. Okay, see you for the next one. Bye.